Hello, spinning circle. Good morning, it's Wellness Wednesday. I hope you're well where you are. I've not done a live from my new laptop previously yet, so it looks a little bit different. The picture is quite weird. I look very bright, let's say. So I hope it looks okay on your side. And I've also not shown up here live in person at this time for a few weeks. In fact, it's before I even went to the Gold Coast for the marathon on the school holidays. So I'm back now, almost getting back to normal. Last week I had a little bit of an issue here in my office. I think you might have seen someone put a rock through my window at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I had glass from one end of the room to the other. So it took me kind of 2 days to fix and repair all of that, and I still have a massive mess to sort out because glass went through all my papers, all my files, I'm still finding glass, to be honest. So I've still got a little bit of cleaning up to do, and sorting out of papers, which I'm hoping to do today after this session. So yes, lots has happened since I ran my marathon on the Gold Coast. And I know that you probably noticed I did a half marathon in Townsville on Sunday, the 7th of August. That was the last run in my 3-run challenge for Ukraine, which included 2 half marathons and 1 full marathon, a total of 84.4 kilometers. Sunday was the hardest run I've done this year. In all the runs I've done this year, I've run a half marathon many times in training. Half marathon distance. I'd done a full marathon distance just once, which is on the Gold Coast. But it was funny and not funny, haha. After I came back from the Gold Coast, my husband got very sick, and then I got sick too, so I had respiratory virus. But the lingering effects of the cough have not gone away. So I'm still coughing, and I hope to get through today without coughing. But I don't feel unwell. It's just that I've got this, hacking cough sometimes. So I actually expended more energy on Sunday coughing than I did actually running. And I woke up at 3 a.m. so I could cheer off my friends in the full marathon at 4:45. And then I had an hour to kind of prepare and get organized for my run. And I felt well until I got to the start line. And all of a sudden, this dark cloud came down over me. And I started to feel sweaty and hot, like I had a fever coming on. And I thought, this is weird, this is no good. Like, what's going on? I just all of a sudden feel rubbish. Like, this is literally just, a couple of seconds before the gun's about to go. And 1.5 Ks into the race, I had to pull off the course and go and use the bathroom. And I threw water all over my face, and that kind of brought down my body temperature, and I started to feel better. And I thought, okay, we'll just keep going now, you're okay. So I did the kind of next 5 Ks, and then on the way back past the same bathroom I ran in and did the same thing. So I'd probably poured more water all over myself in the whole entire race than I actually put into my mouth at all the water stations. And I was literally running the last 5 Ks just completely dripping wet because I'd just showered myself in a couple of cups of water. But it was a pretty brutal run. I coughed a lot, but I got to spend time with a lot of friends, both pre and post race, and also out during the course. It was great to see so many people I know, and I'm proud and happy that I managed to finish my 84.4K challenge that I set myself. And really that was a goal. No one told me to do it, so it led me to think a little bit about intrinsic motivation and to share some insights with you as to why I'm doing this and what's intrinsically motivating me. Well, the 84.4Ks is my mission to raise funds for my friends in Ukraine. I have friends still inside Ukraine. I have friends who are Ukrainian who are outside of Ukraine. And also as a result of the fundraising and the efforts that we have done over the past 6 months, we've met hundreds and hundreds and thousands of other Ukrainian families who also need help. And there's millions of Ukrainian people. There's more than 48 million Ukrainians, and more than 10 million of them are currently displaced. So why is this important to me? Well, I lived and I worked in Ukraine for the best part of 10 years and I've maintained those relationships and those friendships. It's important to me that those people have support and that they have, help and assistance. So however I can provide help and assistance, I've been doing that. We've raised a decent amount of money. We've also dispatched a lot of materials and medicines and other things into Ukraine. And we've shipped clothing from Townsville all the way to Poland, some of which has been used inside Poland by refugees, some of which has been sent into Ukraine. So many things have happened. And really why that's important to me is because it's ultimately the longer term impact is for the children. So if we can help as many mums and children as possible now, hopefully the recovery, post-war recovery will be quicker, and those children will be less traumatized, and they'll have access to the tools that they need, not the, safety, shelter, clothing, all the tools that they need to succeed in their life. Because we've seen from the pandemic that we are globally interconnected, whether we like it or not. The pandemic showed that for people in a really big way, because all of a sudden we couldn't go where we wanted to go and we couldn't do what we wanted to do. And there was a knock-on effect. Anything that happened in one country impacted another country. And that's about geopolitics as well. So decisions that are made in Russia affect things in Queensland, whether we like it or not. We've seen petrol prices and food prices go up and up and up. We're seeing a lot of poverty in households and families. We're seeing countries in north of Africa enter into starvation because they can't get food for their families. So we're going to have another mass starvation crisis in Africa if we don't stop the war. So geopolitics is playing a huge role in a lot of people's lives right now. It's just whether or not they're conscious of it or it's touching them on a day-to-day basis. The UK are predicting a recession later this year. Fuel poverty for a lot of households in the UK is going up and up and up as the prices of things increase. But also as Russia tries to increase the ante, turning off the gas supplies ahead of winter, stopping grain from leaving Ukraine and stealing it, and then now in the last few days shelling nuclear power plants, which means if we have a nuclear power plant that is destroyed, it will affect food production across all of Europe and many other countries in the world, because nuclear rain, which falls everywhere and anywhere, is a global disaster. So they're playing Russian roulette with all of our lives, whether we like it or not. And then we have global warming. And I don't know if you saw the news yesterday, but Seoul was basically flooded almost completely. It was like a sea. We've seen what happened in Brisbane earlier this year. We saw what happened in Lismore earlier this year. So as more and more cities around the world are grappling with devastating floods, it's going to make life more and more harder for people. So we have a lot of huge issues to overcome. And so why I'm intrinsically motivated to keep doing what I'm doing is because I need to gently and consistently draw awareness to these things, because it doesn't matter where you live in the world, at some point you're impacted by these things. And I think younger people potentially are aware of it. We need to be leading the way and role modeling the kindness and compassion for humanity, so that we can overcome the challenges that we all face as time goes by. Because I don't want to think of my friends that are in the UK going into recession this year or living with fuel poverty. I don't want to think of my Ukrainian friends having no gas for the winter, let alone being shelled every day. I don't want to think about my friends from Seoul, Korea being flooded in the same way that I want to think about my friends and family in Brisbane being flooded. So it's really those things that we can't avoid. We have to have them forefront of our mind in terms of our decision making, in terms of what we buy, who we support, and how we kind of move through the world and conduct ourselves. So there's a lot of things that come to mind. So when people say to me, well, you're raising funds for Ukraine, why aren't you raising funds for this? Or why don't you care about that? The thing is, I care about everything because everything is connected. I do care about everything. but there are certain times when you give more or less attention or focus to certain things. So on a local level and on a national level, I give a lot of my time and money and resources to the local and national causes such as the SES, Queensland Youth Services, other charities which I support. And on an international level, I'm using my voice and my legs to raise funds for war victims, because that's what's really important to me. And really, it's my intrinsic motivation that keeps me going. So intrinsic motivation is defined as the inherent satisfaction that you get from doing something that doesn't relate to external forces or rewards or pressure. So I'm not doing this because I feel any pressure. I'm my worst enemy in terms of pressure. I probably put more pressure on myself than other people put on me. So I need to manage that. I am aware of that. But I'm intrinsically motivated to do these things. Intrinsic motivation kind of comes from 4 key areas, really, which is creative motivation, competence motivation, learning motivation, and attitude motivation. So if you look at creative motivation, that's the desire to express yourself. So I kind of do that through my writing and my work. Competence motivation is the ability where you see the desire to where you seek to be better. So I'm always thinking about how I can be better at things. Learning motivation is a desire to kind of learn and explore and, to see new perspectives on things, which is something that I really enjoy doing. And then you have attitude motivation, which is making people feel good and you feel motivated to do more. So in terms of intrinsic motivation, you may or may not be aware of your motivational style, whether it's extrinsic or intrinsic. I'm definitely an intrinsic motivation. In fact, when people put pressure on me or try to reward me with things, that doesn't float my boat. What floats my boat is doing good for the sake of doing good and doing good for my own sense of self-worth and bringing good to others. So really it's important to understand also your motivation style, and not for yourself but also for your children, because I think a lot of times we're dealing with so much extrinsic and external pressures that we forget who we truly are, and intrinsic motivation comes from inside, and knowing yourself as well is really important. So that kind of touches on my why for doing things. I am intrinsically motivated. I aim to do as many good things in my work as well as my personal professional life as I can. And really it's about helping people and helping children, and we really need to really think a lot about that, because there's the international community and the international those big things that I spoke about, the big scary things that, the big elephants in everybody's room, which we probably don't talk about at our dinner table because it is too scary, to be honest. And I certainly don't let my children watch the news. I'm trying to allow them to be children for as long as possible. But I know about them, and so it's my responsibility to do what I can to help. So that was kind of what I wanted to share with you today. It was a pretty tough run on Sunday, but intrinsic motivation has led me to think about what's next. So I have an opportunity to do the marathon. Sorry about the pinging, someone's messaging. An opportunity to do marathon in Melbourne as the 2nd of October. So I wanted to manifest some help and support to be there and to be able to do that, to raise more funds for my friends in Ukraine. Also to challenge myself physically. I feel very well in terms of my running. I still just need to shake off the last of this cough, but Melbourne is in 8 weeks away, Sunday the 2nd of October. So I aim to be fit and healthy, to make it to the start line, to meet up with my running friends from around Australia and to enjoy that event, 42.2 kilometres, and to take my overall official total to 126.6 kilometres for the year. Hopefully inspire others to donate, to take up running, to focus on their health and well-being, and really just to continue to share the work that I'm doing. So that kind of brings me on to my exciting announcement. So 2 years ago, January 2021, almost 2 years ago, I launched my online wellness school, which is hosted on a platform called Teachable. There's a lot of content on there, which I add to regularly. Hints, tips, downloadable documents that you can use, all my best content, as well as interviews with experts from around the world. That content platform is forever growing. However, I started to think about what next for that and the evolution of it and how to make it better. And just floated the idea of having an app. So hopefully, fingers crossed, all going well, by the end of September, I'll be launching my own app. So my wellness school will be converted to an app. For those that are currently subscribed for this year, you can carry on using Teachable. But from September this year and onwards, I will be converting all my content, my best content, into an app which you can download on your phone and have it everywhere that you go, which I think is really cool and is much more flexible for people who want to have bite-sized reminders and hints and tips. And we often know if you're sitting in the school car park waiting, you're often browsing things, you can click onto the app and you can be reminded of some health and wellness tips. You can read an article, you can communicate with me in a forum, we can chat, I can send you reminders and messages, and there's so many other cool things that we can do in the app environment, which is more intuitive, more interactive than a platform library of content. So I'm super excited about that. It's my birthday at the end of September, so maybe this is a birthday present to myself to get the app launched live with the content. And then you can start using it after my birthday. So that will be really cool. I'm super excited about that. So it's the 10th of August today. August feels like it's running away from me. My diary is pretty full with things that are happening, both for myself personally, professionally, and for the kids too. So yes, I'm hoping that your August, the last of winter, let's hope we do have a little bit more winter in North Queensland before the end of this season, because last week was brutally hot and it was far too hot for August, so it doesn't bode well for the coming summer season, unfortunately. Take care of yourself where you are. If you've got any questions about what I've talked about today, drop me a note and message and I'll reach out to you. If you want to discover a little bit more about intrinsic motivation and set yourself some goals. And this is a thing, a lot of us, we need a loving and supporting environment in which to achieve our goals. And it's about creating and fostering and knowing that. And on the drive to school this morning, we were listening to Sing 2 DVD CD songs. We have a CD player in our car. And this song, Higher Love, came on, Bring Me a Higher Love. And that really pumped me up today, because that's what life should be about, is bringing each other that higher love. So that was my final thought for today, which I'm going to carry with me. So take care of yourself, look after yourself, go for a walk today if you can, and yes, and just be well, and I'll see you again real soon. Take care. Bye.